Welcome back to Shahini's Talk Show. Today we're going to talk about the very heroic princess Pocahontas. Here she is after the release of her second movie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. First of all, how did you like the movies?
I find them very inaccurate and
Well, that's great. Can you tell us about your name and what it means?
Pocahontas is just a nickname of mine meaning playful one. I was really named Amont at birth, but many people called me Matoka, which means flower, between two streams. Now I live in England with my husband, John Rolfe, where I go by the name Rebecca.
And what was it like growing up as a princess?
Well, I am not really a princess. I am part of the Powhatan tribe with my father as the chief, though.
What kind of privileges did you get as a daughter of the chief?
Although I did still get a few more luxuries than other girls in the tribe. I still had to learn how to farm, cook, collect herbs, make clothes, and do many other tasks that the other women performed as well.
Everyone is wondering about that fateful night where you committed the heroic act of saving John Smith. What thoughts and emotions were going through your head at that moment?
I couldn't say because that even never really happened. I cannot remember any time in which this rumor could have been sprouted because it was from Smith himself.
So are you saying that the Smith story is made up?
Yes.
Whoa, that's some real tea. Even if you didn't save his life, you did sneak the early colonists' food, right?
There was a point where the colonists suffered from starvation, but at the time I was only around 12 years old, and I was not able to travel that far on my own. What they did instead was force us to give them massive amounts of food by threatening to burn down our villages.
Well, that's not what I expected. We actually brought John Smith here to surprise you. He's in our waiting room, watching you right now. Maybe we should get him up here to ask some questions. Welcome, John. So, what would you say about the night Pocahontas saved your life? Is it true?
Of course it's true.
And what do you remember about that night?
The Powhatans grabbed me and put my head in between two rocks. Then, they were going to crush my head with another rock. But Pocahontas dove in. She put my head in between her arms and saved me.
Many people have different opinions on the situation, with some saying that you are not consistent in your accounts. They say that in some of your works you mention Pocahontas, but in some of your earlier works you don't mention her at all. It has to lead to people believing that you made the story up. What do you say to that?
I would just say, why would I do that? What's the point of making up stories?
We actually have a copy of the letter that you wrote to the Queen. In it, you spoke very highly of Pocahontas. What did you decide to write?
Because she was coming to England with her husband, and I thought the Queen should know of her heroic acts.
Have you guys seen each other since you returned to England?
We did meet one time. I think that she was very surprised to see me.
Of course I was surprised to see him. I was told that he was dead. After meeting me, he told me that he had to return to England after an injury from an accidental gunpowder explosion.
So did you not get an injury for taking the bullet for the chief, like in the movie?
Well, no.
Pocahontas, is there anything else you would like to say to John now that he has told his story?
I find your version of the story terribly inaccurate. My father never would have ever tried to kill you.
That is untrue. I was almost killed. He was about to crush my head with a rock.
My father would never do that. He treated you like his son.
Then why did you have to come and warn me that he was plotting my death when we could not come to an agreement during the period of starvation?
That never happened either.
It totally happened. You were there. I was there. Don't you remember?
No, none of that happened. The movies are fake.
Well, we're gonna end it here. Thank you for being with us, John. And when we come back, we will hear more from Pocahontas.
No.
Welcome back. We still have Pocahontas with us to tell us a little bit about her life. So Pocahontas, you are now married to John Rolfe and live in England. How did you guys meet?
It was during the Anglo-Powhatan War between the English colonists and my tribe in Virginia. I was taken as a prisoner by an Englishman, Samuel Argall. He tricked my people to believe that handing me over would bring peace. While a captive on his ship, I met my future husband, John Rolfe.
And when did you decide to get married?
We got married on April 5th, 1614, and we decided to get married not too long before that. But in order to marry John, I did have to break off the marriage to my husband at the time.
And who was that?
A Powhatan man named Kokum.
Kokum? Like the man from the movie? I thought he died at the hands of the colonists.
No, he didn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The movies are not.
Interesting. So if Kokum wasn't killed, why was John Smith captured by your people?
I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe because of the language barrier. John did not understand where they were taking him and thought he was being captured. They may have been conducting some type of adoption ceremony, but I'm not completely sure because I was too young to be there.
Going back to your life with John Rolfe, why did you decide to convert to Christianity?
While on board our gull ship, I learned a lot from the religion. It was John's religion, and he was a little hesitant about marrying me if I didn't convert. So I wanted to honor him and thought it might be a way to bring peace.
Did it work? Was there peace?
Not at first. The peace was mainly established after the birth of our son, Thomas. Since he was half English and half Powhatan, he acted as a connection between the people.
Speaking of the English, when did you travel to England and how was your life there?
I went to England in 1616, and I did have some sort of praise just because I was an interest to the Virginia Company of London. Since I am a Christian convert, I am married to an Englishman. I resemble a siding with England. I have even had an engraving done of me.
Well, folks, it seems like we're running out of time. Before Pocahontas goes, she's gonna sing Colors of the Wind for us.
What? I can't sing? And what is this Colors of the Wind? I've never even heard of this song before in my life.